How fascinating. As it transpires, for an indictable offence, i.e., crankor, the police must have an arrest warrant. Dear. And of course, this is the charge the CPS are now trying to substitute and get rid of in favour of some other charges. One of which, coincidentally, doesn't need an arrest warrant. And that's specifically, that act is specifically stated as one of the exceptions, is what I mean. Because obviously neither of these new charges need an arrest warrant. But one of them, it specifically states it's an exemption. However, the original charge was indictable, and therefore an arrest warrant was required. Oops. Now, there is something in the Police and Criminal Evidence Act, PACE, which basically says if someone has reasonable grounds that someone's committed an offence, they can arrest them without a warrant. But I do not believe that's relevant here, because let's face it, they first phoned me up in beginning of January the 5th or 6th, I think it was. So they've had plenty of time to sort this out. At least 3 visits later, before they finally arrested me, they could have easily had time to apply for an arrest warrant. So I don't think PACE is relevant, really. Now, the other fascinating fact, of course, is the CPS obviously are trying to substitute this charge. So, in fact, they're actually now guilty of conspiracy to pervert the course of justice, because they're trying to cover up an unlawful arrest by substituting the charges. Double oops. So someone mentioned that to me last night. I've quickly looked up the online law guide this morning, and it's all there. I say they'll probably try and say that under PACE they didn't need one, but January 5th, February the 5th, March the 5th, April the 5th, May. Well, they've had nearly 5 months, really. And the other thing was, of course, they're also apparently supposed to issue a summons before they issue the arrest warrant. Now, I don't know if that's relevant to this or not. But since they wanted me in court, I would think so, actually. Because if you ignore the summons, then they certainly would have grounds for arresting you. Assuming any of this was illegal, which is not. Because, as I say, first offence for which I paid a fine, that I was never formally arrested for. Until they turned up to arrest me for not attending court, which I didn't have to go to. Because, of course, the summons was incorrect. But that's by the by. That information has gone out to someone regarding the CPS's behaviour in particular. But really, this is kidnapping now. An attempted assault, as far as the police are concerned. Because there's no reason in the world they couldn't have got an arrest warrant in that time. And indeed, if you were a policeman, wouldn't you want to? And ensure it made it look as though you were doing your job correctly. Coming down to crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's or whatever it is. But yeah, really. Incredible behaviour. These people want respect. Jesus. Just a bunch of Nazis.